Thank you, Rabia. Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, I would like to thank Yvonne Ridley for inviting me here, honoring me. Have been a great supporter of Yvonne Ridley ever since she stood up for the missing persons. And in Pakistan, Yvonne was responsible for standing up for Dr. Afia Siddiqui, a Pakistani PhD, a scholar from MIT who disappeared with her 3 children. And it was the efforts of Yvonne Ridley that we did a press conference in Pakistan in 2007. And as a result of the press conference, Dr. Afia suddenly appeared in New York, in a prison there, and she underwent a trial. She's in prison now, she's been sentenced, but most of us are still fighting for her. We feel that she hasn't got justice. But anyway, had Yvonne not come to Pakistan, done a press conference, I don't think we would have heard of Dr. Afia Siddiqui now. She had disappeared for 5 years until that press conference. Yvonne, I would like to support your children's library. I wish you all the success. I hope that you collect enough money, and whenever it is possible, I would lend all my support. Bear in mind that I'm already running 3 charities, and so this will be another charity I would support. As you know, we have set up the biggest cancer hospital in Pakistan, the biggest charity in Pakistan, which is the only cancer hospital. We are about to set up a 2nd cancer hospital. We have set up a university, the only private sector university in the rural areas of Pakistan, which is basically for giving quality education to the underprivileged people. But above all is my party, Tehreek-e-Insaf, Movement for Justice. The whole idea is to change Pakistan, bring rule of law in Pakistan, to fight the political mafias in the country. Pakistan right now, as you know or might not know, is going through probably the worst crises in our history. It is a country that has, which is right in the middle of this war on terror. I heard Mozambique speak. I know what happened to Mozambique, but Mozambique is not the only one. I was the first one to do a demonstration for missing people in Pakistan. I remember these women came to my office, this is way back in 2003, their men had disappeared, husbands, fathers, and they wanted, no one would listen to them. They were such scared that anyone who even listened to anyone who was a suspected, a relative of a suspected terrorist, would earn the wrath of the United States. And I remember seeing this fair. No police would register a case because people would go and say, my father is missing or my husband's missing. In Pakistan, no police station would register a case. No court would accept a petition of missing people. All the parliamentarians were petrified. So this woman, these women came to me, and so we did the first ever demonstration in Pakistan, and people in the country for the first time realized that people had gone missing. And then, of course, General Musharraf wrote a book. In the book, he mentioned that he had handed over 700 people to the United States and exchanged them for dollars. He had sold these people to the United States, he admitted in the book. So this was the first government acknowledgement that people had disappeared. Unfortunately, some of those people, we still do not have any knowledge where they've gone. But Afia Siddiqui is this particular case, this woman with 3 children, the youngest being 1.5 years, 1.5 years old. I was approached way back in 2003 by her uncle that this niece with her 3 kids had boarded a train in Karachi because she got frightened that her name came in the suspect list of FBI in the States. And while on the way to the station, she made one phone call, and that was the last they heard of her. So anyway, I spoke to the mother of this Dr. Afia Siddiqui. And the mother said, look, if so I asked her, I said, look, let's do a press conference. The mother told me that, she said, okay, she accepted. The next day she called me up, she said she can't do a press conference because she was called up by the agencies and told that if she went public, she would never see her daughter or her 3 children alive. So she backed out, so I couldn't do anything. And then, of course, Yvonne appeared on the scene some 4 years later, in 2007. The point I'm trying to say is simple, that there are very few people in these difficult times who took a stand. And that's why my great admiration for you, Yvonne, because you did take a stand, and it did make a difference. More and more people now are asking these questions. Human beings have, in natural justice, the right to go to a court of law to prove their innocence. And unfortunately, this right was violated in Guantanamo Bay. The right has been violated. There are still detention centers. And I think this campaign has to go on. Also, it's very admirable that you want to set up this library. We all know what Afghanistan is going through, and so we will all be willing to help you. Now, about my own party. Since there are people sitting here who might not necessarily be interested in too many details, I'll wait for your question and answers, so I'll be able to, rather than us politicians giving a big monologue, I'll wait for your questions so I can be more precise in my answers. Basically, we started this party 14 years ago to bring rule of law in Pakistan. The problem in Pakistan, like in most of the third world countries, is that the ruling elite is above law. And the ruling elite does not want strong institutions like an independent justice system, because they don't want any check and balances. It's like the United States does not want to be under the International Criminal Court. The powerful always want to be above law. And unfortunately, civilized societies, civilized societies are the ones who manage to bring the powerful under the rule of law. In Pakistan, we saw our country going through this loot and plunder by the ruling elite. Corruption exceeding all limits, because the ruling elite would come into power, plunder the country, send the money abroad, buy big expensive homes in London, and then have Swiss bank accounts, and then stay in power simply to protect this wealth. So when we started our party, we felt that the only way to tackle it is if you have an independent justice system. So that's how this my party started, Movement for Justice. And this struggle was going on when suddenly one Chief Justice took a stand in 2007, and things began to change. So while it is the worst of times in Pakistan, because this war on terror, as a result of it, the extremism growing in Pakistan, radicalization of our society, the breakdown of root law and order in the country, at the same time, you are having this democratic movement which is gaining pace in the country. We have an independent Supreme Court today. An independent Supreme Court which hardly any of the 55 Muslim countries have today. We have a very vibrant media. Pakistan has probably the most vibrant media in any of the Muslim 55. In fact, any of the Western countries. We have some of the most vibrant current affair programs in the country. So the public is very politically aware today. So we have two ingredients, two prerequisites for a general democracy. What now we need is an independent election commission. And that my party has already gone to or is going to go into the Supreme Court to insist that the election commission should be independent. And after that, the moment we have elections, my prediction is that Pakistan will move towards a general democracy with Tehreek-e-Insaf sweeping the elections. I know some of you find this a bit difficult, but me, I am on the ground. I see what is happening in Pakistan. The young people, and remember 65% of our population is under the age of 25. And this is where the hope lies. The young people today want to change. If you go to any universities, colleges, most of them now are Tehreek-e-Insaf. But also most of them are rebelling against the old order, the status quo.